You are so blessed and so wealthy. Has anyone told you that lately? Let's talk about how to shift your perspective around money and remember just how rich you already are and grow your income. Hey guys, it's Anita and welcome to the Creative Studio Sessions. These are the spaces where we talk about ideas and insights for living a brave, meaningful, and creative life. For the next few videos, I'm going to talk about money because this is something that affects all of us, and if you live in the first world, which there's a good chance you might since you are watching this with an internet connection, you are already so wealthy. It boggles me when people are holding iPhones and smartphones and they're worrying about money. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we need to talk about the big money truth, which is that you are so blessed. When I say that, you might be thinking, yeah, right, Anita. Or maybe it will land somewhere deep, deep in your heart. And I want you to let it land in your heart because this isn't about how much money is in your bank account or what you ate for lunch today. It's about an attitude and a choice that we get to make. Because if you have an internet connection and you are watching this on some kind of electronic device, you are already more wealthy than a lot of people in the world. Like the cost of the equipment that it takes to make this video, which is not fancy equipment by any means, is already more than some people will make in their entire year. So look around wherever you are sitting right now. If you paid for rent for the roof that's over your head right now, if you're watching this on a laptop, if you charged your phone today with electricity and you're not afraid that the electricity is going to go out for the next 3 weeks, that already makes you rich. This is really about an attitude shift, and this is a choice that you have to make once and for all. Because the world around us, because of advertising and media and Netflix even, like just the world around us is constantly bombarding us with messages of you don't have enough, you need more. Want to be happy? Go on a vacation, buy a new phone, get that new outfit, here's a deal, here's another deal, but that deal's not good enough, so buy more on Black Friday. Like, the messages are not going to stop anytime soon. But what you can choose is to be like, okay, I am already blessed though. And it's almost like you have to say this to yourself every day. I am so blessed. I'm so grateful to be alive. And I'm so grateful that the universe, God, whatever higher power is you understand right now, like something is taking care of me because clearly I still have breath in my lungs. The sun rose today and the electricity is still flowing. So something is at work here and it is taking care of me, it is taking care of you, and that is what makes us blessed. It's not what makes us blessed is not that we make more money than someone else or we have a better car than someone else. What makes us blessed is that we are alive and that we are breathing. Even if you work in a job that is not your dream job right now, if you're working a job and you're making money, think of how miraculous it is that businesses even function. Like the idea that if you work in a big company, like the idea that someone came up with an idea and put systems and processes in place so that decades later you can show up at a job and have some guidance on what to do, a space to learn, an office for you to show up at, and you show up there and you do some work and then they give you money. And no matter what you think about how much money you make right now, like it's a lot of money. It's money. Like in Canada, minimum wage is $14, $15 right now. When I was 16 or 15, whenever you can start working in Canada, minimum wage was like $7 something. So like even that in itself, sure, if you're into economics, people will be like, oh, well, that's inflation. But like, forget all the reasons why you're not rich and choose to realize that the fact that you can show up at a job and make money, that already makes you rich. There are a lot of people in the world where if they show up at a job, they might not get paid because of corruption. Or if they show up at a job, they might even get harassed and kidnapped and held hostage and gunned down and taken captive. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say that today when you show up to work, you are not going to get killed. Like, that is not one of your fears. And if that is the reality of your life, that you can show up to work and it's safe, and even if it's not perfect, you're still going to get paid, that is a blessing and it's a miracle. And I just want you to hold on to that truth and never let it go. Even when the world tells you like, oh, you should get a better job, like, no, you are still blessed. And the fact that you are alive and living, breathing in, like, that is what makes you wealthy. So in this video, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite exercises for how you can shift your perspective around money from I don't have enough, I make too little, to I am so wealthy and abundant and I have exactly what I need right now. But before I get to that, I need to share with you two big money truths. The first is that it's not about how much money you make, it's about how you feel about it. I know a lot of people who make a lot more money than me, but they still worry about money and they talk about it like it's a finite resource and it's something that they have to be really frugal with and that they're afraid they won't have enough of. This always boggles me because I know that these are people in my life who make more money than me. Meanwhile, I make less money, and for the most part, I have financial serenity and financial security because I understand the source of my money. It's not the company I work for, it's God. So it's not about how much money you make, but how you feel about it. And you can learn to feel secure, confident, grateful, and blessed no matter how much money you make. And when you understand that, you'll realize that being financially secure is an inside job. It's not about how much you can hoard your money or invest it. It's really an inside job in understanding how money works in the world. The second money truth is that it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with it. You could be making a ton of money right now, but you're spending it in ways that your soul doesn't even want. Maybe you feel obliged to desire a cottage, and that requires X amount of money. But deep down inside, if you really ask yourself, do you really want a cottage? Like, I'd be happy if I had a cottage, but I'm also happy without my cottage because I understand that the way I'm using my money is what makes me wealthy. So being really conscious of how you use your money and not just spending it frivolously in the ways that the world tells you to. So now let's look at one of my favorite exercises for shifting your perspective around money. I got it from a book by Laura Vanderkam. The book is called All the Money in the World. Check it out if you want to learn more, if you want to have your mind warped even more around money and how you actually have more money than you think. So for this exercise, what you want to do is pull out one of your monthly bills and then rate each item on the bill in terms of how fulfilled or happy, content you feel after that purchase. So let's say on a Friday night you spent $200 on clothes. How does that make you feel now? Would you give that an 8 out of 10, a 10 out of 10 if that was like clothes that you really needed? Or maybe that was just some retail therapy and now you look at those clothes, you haven't worn any of them, you're not really happy about half of them. So maybe that is a 5 out of 10 purchase. Then you go down every item. So you look at your grocery list. How happy are you with that? Maybe it's a 7 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10 if it just doesn't align with the way you wanted to spend money on groceries. Look at your phone bill, rate how happy and content that makes you. If you went out to eat, if you went to the movies, if you spent money on Uber, if you bought gifts for people. So write a rating beside every single item that you spent money on. And when you're done, you'll have your bill and then you'll have a rating beside every single item and you'll be able to feel now which purchases do not satisfy you and which purchases maybe you just made because that's what you're supposed to do, but you don't really want to do it. So I love this exercise. I've done it many times to the point where now I just do it in my head when I'm spending money. And I think of like, is this really what I want to be spending money on? And then there's still times I'll spend money on it and then I'm like regretting it 2 months later, and I know that, okay, not spending money on that anymore. So what this does is it builds your self-awareness muscle. You'll begin to tap into your intuition when you're purchasing things and you're using your money, because you're not just going to do as many impulse buys, because you'll realize afterwards you're going to have to look at your credit card statements, your bank account, and look at like, okay, I spent $40 on that. Am I going to give that a 2 out of 10 and regret it later, or am I going to be sure that this is an 8 out of 10 purchase? This just gets you to engage your whole being when you're looking at money, because shifting your perspective around money is not just going to be changing your thoughts, it's also changing how you relate to money and how you value money. And when you rate your purchases, you'll come to understand what it is that your soul values, and then you'll learn to put your money into the things that you actually value. The thing that I love about this exercise is that if you are trying to cut down on your expenses, it makes it a lot easier to see what things are adding value to your life and what things are not. Maybe you've got 10 items and you think that you need all of them, but when you actually rate them, some of them end up with a 7 out of 10, some get a 6 out of 10, and some get a 5 out of 10. And even though you want to tell yourself, but you need all of these purchases, you can cut out the 5 out of 10, because intuitively, deep down, you just know that some things satisfy you more and some things don't. So now let's pull together everything that we've talked about so that you can really shift your perspective around money and become financially abundant. Step number 1 is to install this mantra: I am so blessed. Tattoo it on your forehead, write it on your mirror, change your phone background, do whatever you have to so that for a month you just remind yourself over and over again, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. The life I have is so blessed. God is taking care of me. Like, I am not alone. I am loved. I am so blessed. Step number 2 is to accept that you are making the exact right amount of money that you are meant to make right now. And how do we know that? Well, it's because it's exactly the amount of money that you're making. At this moment, you cannot go land another job. Like, the exact moment that you're watching this, the amount of money that you're making is just what you're meant to be making, because it's teaching you really important lessons. It's teaching you how to feel the right way about the money you have, and it's teaching you what to do with the money that you have. When it's time for you to have $1 million, you'll know, because you'll know what to do with it and you'll feel the right way about it. So if right now you feel really in a space of lack and you're not grateful for your money, this is a good chance to practice your abundance muscles and remind yourself that, you know what, this amount is just right. I can grow this amount, but I'm not going to complain about the amount of money I'm making right now. In fact, I'm going to learn from this and grow from this, and I'm going to learn to feel abundant with it. Step number 3 is to do the rate your purchases exercise that I just mentioned. So actually do that, pull out your bills and rate each expense. Step number 4 is to create a plan for how you want to spend differently this month based on your observations from the rate your purchases exercise. This is when you start taking everything you've learned, you shifted your perspective, and now you're putting it into practice. You've got to change the way you think about money, the way you feel about money, and then you've got to put it into practice and actually learn how to spend your money more wisely and in more fulfilling ways. So this is how to shift your perspective around money. This is going to be a lifelong practice. Everyone that I know could do a little bit more with this, because I believe that when you are ready for $1 million and God knows that you're ready for it, you will get it, because God will know that, like, I can trust this person to steward this money wisely. And until then, just remember that you are so blessed. So keep doing this work, keep shifting your perspective around money. I believe it's so important for more people to understand how to really use their money wisely, because it's such a powerful resource that we have access to. And when we use it wisely, like, that's when we can really change the world and bring more love and more kindness and more goodness here. So that's it for this video. If you guys have other thoughts on this topic, feel free to share them below. Changing your perspective around money is going to be a lifelong journey, but it's one of the best things that you can do, and it'll give you rewards and more investment money the more that you do it. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to join me and my creative adventures, you can find me over on Instagram at Anita Wing Lee, or read more on my blog, anitawinglee.com. I'll see you guys in the next one.